There are 3 different types of roles that you play as a business owner. Most business owners don't burn out because they're doing the wrong things. They burn out because they're doing everything.
You end up underpricing based on time. You're spinning your wheels in the exact same spot over and over again because you're not spending the time planning for growth to get yourself past that hump. Busy doesn't mean profitable, and doing everything yourself doesn't make you the best leader. It makes you the bottleneck. Write a list of all the things you do. Brain dump. What are the things that you're great at that you love to do?
Welcome to Profits Pints, where strategy meets great conversation and real-world action. I'm Samantha Doyle. Grab a drink, settle in, and let's dive into this month's big idea.
How's everybody doing today? Ready?
Grateful.
Yes?
Better now that we're
Happy
here.
to be here.
Woo! Pumped. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. This is now the 4th Profits and Pints.
Woo!
So exciting. So today, we're going to talk about thinking like an owner. And as a business owner, there's really a lot of different things that you have to do, right? As a business owner, no matter what size business that you're in. So there's a quote here. It says, most business owners don't burn out because they're doing the wrong things. They burn out because they're doing everything.
Yes.
Does this relate to anybody?
Yes.
Yes? Probably relates to everyone. And so what I want you to do is raise your hand if you spent time this week doing something that you know you probably shouldn't be doing anymore. Look at that. That's almost 100%. Okay, cool. So today we're going to talk about how do you define what are the activities that you can try to separate yourself from, okay? And how? How do you define what those things are? And then how do you determine who or how to get rid of those things, okay? Because sometimes it's really hard when you have all these different tasks on your plate to figure out how do you offload some of those things that are really part of what you do. So George called it out actually on my LinkedIn, totally did. But there are 3 different types of roles that you play as a business owner. There's the technician, which is the doer. You're doing the work, whatever the work is, whether it's actually a technician in the field or you're providing the service that you offer, right? So that's something that you have to do as a business owner at some level. You're the manager, meaning you're directing, right? So maybe you're doing like the scheduling or the coordination of the doing. That has to be done. And then there's the owner or the inspiration. Okay, you have to be somewhat inspirational, whether you want to be or not. You have to inspire, especially if you have a team, especially if you have weird. Even if you don't have a team, you got to inspire yourself. Somehow, you got to get yourself up every day. Okay, and so these are the 3 roles that every business owner has to fill in some capacity. This is generally, on average, what it looks like. Someone who's literally filled in the technician seat, okay, will mostly be doing most of the time, right? You'll see here in the darker color here, they spend most of their time doing. They spend a little bit of their time directing. Even as a technician, they have to spend a little bit of their time directing, whether they're coordinating with other technicians or they're coordinating with their boss or whatever that is. And they spend a little bit of time inspiring even, right? That's typically what a technician does. A manager, it's a little bit of like all 3, right? Spend a little, like maybe a little bit less or 1/3 maybe of the time doing the work, a little bit of time inspiring, a little bit of time managing, right? You're kind of right there in the middle doing all of it. When you're an owner, where you want to be, not where they all are, not where they typically are, but where you want to be is you actually want to be spending most of your time in the inspire roles. And a little bit of directing and a little tiny bit of doing, as much as you can. That's where you want to get to. As a brand new business owner, you're the only one in the business. It is harder to get to that point, but that's where you want to try and get to as you're growing the business. Make sense? Any questions on this? So, where are you spending most of your time? I want you to think about all the tasks that you do throughout the day, throughout the week, and try and put them in those 3 categories. Are you spending more of your time inspiring, directing, or doing? So on your worksheet, on the very top, there's a circle here. Look at that. We drew a circle for you so you didn't have to. And so I want you to create your own pie chart. What does your pie chart look like right now? Are you spending most of your time doing? Are you spending most of your time managing or inspiring? Go ahead and take a minute. Where do you think you're at?
Who here is not spending time the way they want to be spending their time? We'd like to make an adjustment, right? Okay, so let's talk about how to do that. So one thing is talking about profit, right? So we're here to talk about where you spend your time, but we're also relating it back to profitability in the organization. Okay, so this is talking about when you stay in technician mode, what does that do to your profit? Okay, so this is just a couple examples here, but some of the things that happens when you spend your time in technician mode is that you end up underpricing based on time. You miss big picture planning. If you're not spending time on big picture planning, which some business owners don't spend any time on big picture planning, that is a huge missed opportunity. You get burnout very easily, okay? Very common in business ownership. You're delaying your growth, right? So a lot of times you're spinning your wheels and you're just staying flat, right? And so that's why the burnout happens, because you're spinning your wheels in the exact same spot over and over again because you're not spending the time worrying about or planning for growth, essentially, right? To get yourself past that hump in order to be in a position where you don't have to be the technician anymore, or you can be the technician less, essentially, okay? And you're blocking your team's development. I think that's actually probably one of the biggest ones, in my opinion. If you have a team and you are micromanaging them and you are not letting them rise to the occasion, you are actually blocking their development if you don't let them learn from their mistakes even. They have to learn how to step up and grow themselves. And you have to let that happen. If you don't let it happen, it's not going to happen. Okay? So these are some of the ways that it can directly impact your profit in your organization. So just think about what are some of the things that you think are happening in your organization, some of the things that you think might be impacted by your time spent being a technician. Busy doesn't mean profitable, and doing everything yourself doesn't make you the best leader. It makes you the bottleneck. Has anybody worked for an organization or been in an organization where nothing could be done, and I know you guys are laughing, it's okay, where nothing could be done until it all went across the boss's desk? Anybody?
Just us.
Has anybody been there? How frustrating. So you want to be careful, right? Because it is hard, especially when you own your own business and it's your baby, right? It's your baby. You want to make sure everything is done properly. And that is important and that is okay. But there is a balance between making sure that everything is done properly and making sure that you don't become the bottleneck in the organization. Because it can be very frustrating, especially for your team. So, where's your time going? So we're going to do this little activity here. And normally I do this with people and it's a much longer activity. We're going to do a shortened version of it. And a lot of times I have people write the list before I even show them this, but this is what we're going to do for today. Typically I say, okay, write a list of all the things you do. All the activities, right? Like brain dump. Everything that you do, start to finish. Then put them in categories. What are the things that you're great at that you love to do? Okay? And put everything in that box. What are the things that you're great at, but you don't actually like to do them? What are the things that you're not good at, but you kind of like doing them? Maybe you want to get better at them. Maybe you just need some training. And then what are the things that you don't like to do, and you really suck at them? Okay? And once you have your list of things, and for now, maybe just come up with a couple things. Try and come up with like 2 or 3 things within each box, right? Think of the big things that you do every day in each box. And if it's the things you don't like to do and you're not great at, you need to offload those things ASAP. Those are the things that you need to find someone else to do. So I'll give you an example. How many accountants do we have in the room? Okay? Most business owners hate accounting, okay? And that is probably one of the first things you should offload, okay? Very easy. Who likes cleaning their house? Anybody like cleaning their house? We have Anna in the room. Has anybody met Anna? Okay, if you haven't, please talk to Anna afterwards. Okay, so that is another thing to offload, maybe more personal. So there are some simple things that you can find that you don't like to do, that you can offload, that are going to take some of that burn off of you immediately, okay, by coming up with that list. The things that you are great at and that you love doing, that's your zone of genius. Hold on to that. Don't let go of that. Those are the things that are going to give you energy. Those are the things that are going to get you going in the morning, that are going to give you the energy at the end of the day. You don't want to let those things go. Don't let anyone else do those things, okay? Even if you have someone on your team that's also good at those things, you're the business owner. You get to keep those things, okay? That's just as important. Now, we have the other two categories, right? Things that you are great at, but you don't like doing them, okay? See if you can find a way to systemize them. That's the first thing I would look at. Is there a way to streamline, systemize, optimize these things? Or delegate them, okay? With AI, with workflows, with all the software that's out there these days, there are so many things that you can systemize or automate. So if it is something that you do not like to do, but you are good at, you should be able to find a pretty easy way to systemize or delegate. You could probably train someone pretty easily on how to do this stuff because you're good at it, right? So you should be able to find someone to be able to take over those things pretty easily. And then the last category is not great at, but you love doing. This says delegate if possible. I would say this is the last place to delegate. And only because if you like doing it, it might be something that you want to dive into. You might want to learn more about it. It might be something that you potentially will have a passion for in the future. Maybe you want to do some education around it. If it's something that you truly do enjoy doing, even if you're maybe not the best at it, I think it's okay to hold on to it, but just recognize how horrible at it you are, okay? So for example, I have really gotten into marketing lately, and I'm really, really loving marketing, okay? And I am good at marketing strategy. I suck at actual marketing, okay? As soon as the strategy is there, I need to pass it off to Kayla, okay? Kayla, can you please do the marketing for me? And I recognize that, and I love hearing about the marketing, and I want to be involved in it. I want to know what's going on, but I am not good at doing it, okay? And I know that I suck at it, and I know that no matter how much time and energy I put into it, I am never going to be excellent at it, and it is not going to pay off for me. And so it is something that I'm going to delegate because of that. And so you got to find that balance. The thing that I love about doing this is when you have your whole list of things and you put them in the quadrants, sometimes it's really easy to figure out who you need to hire next, right? What are the things that you hate doing or that you suck at? And you're like, oh, hey, look, that's a person, right? Especially if you're at the point where you're at the growth point where it makes sense to hire someone. Maybe it's a part-time VA, maybe it's a full-time VA, maybe it's a full-time person or a technician, whatever that is, this will help you identify it. And this is something you can do frequently. Maybe you do it once a quarter. You're like, all right, I'm starting to get burnout again. This is called Delegate and Elevate. And it actually comes from a EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's a fantastic tool that I've used many, many times. It's very, very helpful in just streamlining and understanding where you're at in your business. Does anybody have anything that they have immediately been like, oh my gosh, I need to delegate this. This is something that has come out of this.
Yeah.
What?
My email communications.
Email communication. Say more. Which quadrant is it in?
Don't like, but I'm okay. I'm pretty good at it. It takes up a lot of my time. It's just the communication, especially when I'm building a website or social marketing or any of that kind of stuff. Definitely, it takes up a lot of my time when I could be doing other things.
And what do you think the solve is?
Well, I can't use AI for it.
You can try.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
I don't want to eliminate that human touch, though.
Yep.
I could definitely delegate, for sure. It went in my systems or delegates.
Yeah, definitely.
I just got to find the right person to do it is the problem.
Correct.
Because I'm still new.
Yes.
And it's just me. And I've delegated some things. But
Well, and when you are newer and you're smaller, doing this activity, you might be like, look, I can't delegate anything. I can't afford to hire anyone. I'm not at that point. And that's okay, right? But it still helps you understand when I get to that point. If your goal is to grow, when you get to that point, these are the things that you will hire for, right? So even if you're not there yet, you know where you're gonna go, which is still very helpful.
Letting go of that control, like you were saying.
Yes.
Like making sure that my clients are going to be taken care of as well as I want them to be, or the communications are going to be as good as I want them to be. So that's also another thing.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody else have anything that came out of this?
Where would you put sales in this?
Well, where would you put sales in that? I don't, it's not mine.
Well, I mean, I think that every business owner is truly passionate about they're always going to sell their company the best.
Maybe. I know one person in particular I'm thinking of, my brother. He sucks at sales.
I mean, I like sales. I'm good at sales. I find it to be a tricky thing to delegate.
I think it depends on what industry you're in too.
Mm-hmm.
Like what we do, we want to be there and meeting every client. Other people can probably do that, but I wouldn't give that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to delegate. Like if it was a product, I think that was, there's a service element.
Another thing too is that you might be thinking of it too big. You're talking sales.
Of course.
But then what if you break
there's all
sales
kinds of
down?
elements I don't do in the sales process.
Right.
that I've handed
So
off.
if you talk about every single task,
Sure.
that's tedious, I know. But if we're talking every single task within the sales, there are definitely things within that process that you could delegate that would offload you. And so you can indicate what are the key points of that sales process that you want to be involved in, or you feel like you want to be involved in, or you love being involved in. Whereas what are the things that you can delegate?
Right, yeah.
That's where I would go with it.
Cold calling.
Break it down more.
No, not cold calling.
No, but some people do.
Someone else is doing that.
Definitely hire someone else for that if you don't want to do it.
Or reconsider if that's even an effective strategy.
Correct. Yeah. Is that the marketing strategy? That's a real question. Okay.
Not so much these days, for sure. But.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I know I'm good at training people to clean and stuff, but I don't like doing that, and that has prevented me from like sometimes hiring new people because I don't want to deal with it. So I rather like do it because in my mind it's like if I do it, I'll do it faster than they are, and they're just kind of like taking more time. But you know that has been my issue.
Well, you bring up a really good point. Sometimes it's easier to just do it and get it over with, right? Whereas if you came up with, okay, I'm going to train the trainer, right? You're going to find someone who can be the trainer, and you have to invest that extra time in order to delegate that, right? To train that person. You have to invest in that person, especially because, that person could leave. And then now you have to invest in another person to do that, right? And so that is hard and it is scary. But I think that when you start to look at the amount of other things that you're handling and the amount of other things you could be doing, especially because you also do sales, right?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're trying to grow your business and you got sales in your zone of genius, let's just say, I don't know if this is true, right? Let's say sales is in your zone of genius and you're like, I would rather be out selling instead of back training, right? If you had someone training, you could sell more, which means you could grow faster, which means you would have more trainers potentially in the future, so then that relieves the risk in the future, right? So that's just another way to look at it, is that there is an investment aspect of it when you're looking at delegating some of these things. And that's why streamlining or coming up with the systems, making sure they're written, they're documented, you have a good system in place so that if someone leaves and you hire someone else, you can train that other person easier than the first time, right? So that's I think something that's really important to understand is don't just delegate, don't just tell them how to do it, document it. Make sure it's documented, I think is the key.
That's actually one of the things that's going on where I just started working is that because I'm the newbie and I'm asking all these inside questions that, oh, yeah, we got to have,
Process for that.
The manager for my department is actually codifying how she wants things done so that she can then hand it off, to the next newbie that comes along. So, when you come in, you start putting in all these invoices, all these bills that come in for the property. Here's how you do it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. It's very important. And the thing is as the business owner, you are surrounding, as you grow, your job is to surround yourself with people smarter than you. That's your job, okay? Your job is to find people that are really good at the things that you suck at. That is what a successful business looks like. If you hire all people that are the same as you, you are not going to be successful in business because it's all the same people thinking the same way, doing the same thing, and you don't have any outside perspective. And so when you do this, you're looking at the gaps that you have in your organization. What are the things that you are not thinking of? Okay, you want diversity in your organization from the standpoint of being able to have those different perspectives to say, well, what about this and what about this? And I didn't think about that, and challenge each other. That is what a successful business looks like, is to be able to challenge each other. And so this is just one other tool. There's lots of tools out there. This is just another tool that helps you identify those blind spots in your organization. We already kind of talked about this a little bit, but just pinpointing like what's one task, one or two tasks really that you can focus on right now that you can either offload, delegate, or maybe try and kind of come up with a better system for, right? That might streamline it for you. I mean, even if it's something like going to Fiverr and having I don't know if have you guys heard of Fiverr? Everybody? No? If you haven't, Fiverr, it's like you can go and hire someone for like $8 to do something for you, basically, okay? It's more project-based, but if there's like continuous projects that you're doing that are kind of a pain and you're not very good at them and you hate doing them, Fiverr's a great tool for that type of stuff, right? And you can get an offshore person to do like a marketing thing for you or a quick project for you or a CRM data install or whatever. Honestly, there's like a bazillion different things that they can do for you. Huge resource if you have little things that you need help for. That is something you can offshore, basically. Really, really inexpensively, typically. So there's lots of resources like that. That's just one. Another quote that I just thought was really good. Profit doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing the right work. So this comes back to making sure that you are in your zone of genius. Don't be spending time doing the things that you suck at, okay? Because you're gonna be spending more time doing this. I'm gonna use the bookkeepers again, actually, because I think this is such a brilliant thing. I have a client right now that has an internal person who I actually trained her how to do bookkeeping, okay? Because they needed someone internal to do the bookkeeping. And I trained her how to do it, and she does an okay job, right? But it takes her a long time to do the bookkeeping because she's not proficient at it, right? She's not a professional bookkeeper. She hasn't been doing it very long, okay? Now this person is not working out for whatever reason that she's gonna be leaving. And now I'm saying, hey, I think it's time for you to just outsource your bookkeeping because you're gonna take this 8-hour-a-day person or however many hours a week she's doing bookkeeping, which is probably, let's say, 15 hours a week that she's working on bookkeeping. And you're gonna hire a bookkeeper and it's probably gonna take them 5 hours a month, honestly. Because they're proficient at it, they're fast, they can do it like this. And not only that, it's gonna be accurate. They have a much better chance of it being accurate. And so it's not just about time for time. You're not necessarily trading your time for someone else's exact amount of time. If you hire someone who's really proficient at the thing that you suck at, they're probably going to do it a lot faster than you're doing it for a lot less money.
They'll have insights that you don't.
They're going to have insights that you don't, okay? And so you're trading your time that you can use to do things in your zone of genius for their time doing their things in their zone of genius. It's going to save you money. You can almost guarantee it. All right, so this is what we've done today. I hope this was really helpful for you guys. I want to present, so for those of you guys that don't know, Strategic Business Coaching actually acquired another business back in October called Executive Forum. It is a leadership development organization. It's based out of Portland, and I'm trying to bring it down to Eugene, but we have a bunch of clients up in Portland, so that's why it's still kind of up there. But we have facilitators all over the United States, and we do leadership training. And so today I kind of bridged that gap between leadership training and business ownership because I wanted to introduce the concept, and I wanted to talk about how being a business owner is very hard for so many reasons, and being a good leader and thinking about the profitability and the leadership and what tasks you're really spending your time on, I think is so incredibly important. And Jim Morris is one of our facilitators. I don't tell any of my other facilitators this, but he's my favorite. You can ask Sky, he's amazing. He actually lives in Bend, and he is going to be hosting a one-day leadership program. We already have a handful of signups for this one-day program. It is in Portland, but it's in Lake Oswego, and it's like south, okay? So it's only an hour and a half from here, so it's not that bad. But I wanted to present if anybody was interested. It's on August 5th, south of Portland. And if anybody's interested, I'm gonna organize a carpool. I have to go there anyways. Sky's gonna be up there. It's gonna be awesome. Jim is phenomenal facilitator. July 15th is the next Profits and Pints, and we're gonna talk about reading financials. So we're gonna go back to financials, reading financials and best practices, and a little bit about the 7 levers, which some of you guys have already done a little bit of a workshop, but we're gonna go a little deeper on that even. 7 levers that you can basically adjust in your financials to make big impacts in your business. Okay? All right. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us at Profits and Pints. If you enjoyed this session, we'd love your feedback. Just click the link to fill out the quick survey. Your input helps shape future topics and makes this experience even better. Until next time, cheers to smart moves and great conversation.